Hello Star Wars fans, and welcome to episode 56 of Journey into Legends. Today we are going to be reading the Dark Forces trilogy by William C. Dietz. Dark Forces is a trilogy of novellas released from 1997 to 1998 based on the popular video game series Star Wars Dark Forces, and its main character Kyle Katarn. I'm really excited to read these. I've actually never played the Dark Forces games or watched any playthroughs, so this will actually be my introduction to the story and the character of Kyle Katarn. Without further ado, let's read and review. Alright, so the first book is called Soldier for the Empire, and it follows Kyle Katarn through his last few months as an Imperial cadet, his defection to the Rebellion, and his mission to Danuta to steal the Death Star plans. Overall, I actually really enjoyed this first book quite a bit. It was really dark and gritty, and it felt very different to anything else I've read from Legends. I really enjoyed the story and the development of Kyle Katarn, but there were a few things that held this book back from being truly great. First of all, Deitz's writing style just isn't for me. He uses some really weird nomenclature such as Earth, email, and other weird stuff throughout the book, and I found his prose quite stale at times. I also found Jarek's role in this book a little weird. He played a very large role at the start, but then he just disappeared halfway through the novel. I assume it'll make more sense once I finish the entire trilogy, but within the context of this one book, his inclusion felt a little messy. Another issue I had was I just don't think this book really justified Kyle's involvement in the Danuta operation. I just really doubt that Mon Mothma would play such an important and dangerous operation in the hands of an agent that she just met and has no reason to trust. And finally, like Corran Horn in the X-Wing books, I found Kyle's emerging force powers really out of place. Now, I know that he will end up being a Jedi by the end of the trilogy, but I didn't really like this book's handling of his powers, and it just didn't fit with the tone of the rest of the book. But other than those things, this book was actually pretty fun. Let's move on to Book 2. Alright, so Book 2 is called Rebel Agent, and this one takes place 5 years after the last book. And personally, I found this book to be a huge step backward from the previous book. Firstly, this book centers on the Valley of the Jedi, a mysterious Jedi landmark on Ruusan, found by Morgan Katarn. The problem with this plotline is that it really didn't go anywhere. We see Morgan find it, we see the message he left for Kyle about it, and we see Kyle and Jarek both on a quest to find it. But the plotline doesn't get any resolution. It's all just set up for the third book. So after reading this one, I was kind of just left wondering what the point of this book was. All that was really accomplished was that Kyle found the completed map to the valley and is now on his way to find it. Secondly, I really loved the gritty tone of the first book, and that really wasn't present here. Whereas the last book focused a lot on Kyle's military experiences and his skills as a pilot, this one put more focus on the progression of his Jedi training. Similarly, Kyle is facing a lot more Force-based threats in this book, mainly Jarek's Dark Jedi, whereas the last book had none of that. Again, I don't hate Jedi and Sith stories, I just think the first book was very unique and was a breath of fresh air, and I'm disappointed that like Corran Horn, they took yet another character and just gave him a lightsaber and made him a Jedi. Anyways, let's move on to the third and final book. Alright, so Book 3 is called Jedi Knight, and this one was actually pretty good. Unlike the last book, which was all just set up, in this one stuff actually happened. Whereas last book was all about finding the Valley of the Jedi, this book is actually about the fight for it. And overall, I just found this one a lot more enjoyable. I thought the exploration of Kyle's Jedi skills was a lot more natural and felt less shoehorned in. I also really enjoyed the Dark Jedi in this book, specifically Yun, whose inner conflict was a really compelling, albeit short-lived arc. Another thing I really enjoyed about this book was the connections it made to the Old Republic era. Although I haven't read the Darth Bane trilogy yet, I really appreciated this book's exploration of Lord Hoth, the Seven Battles of Ruusan, and the Thought Bomb. I just love stuff like this that makes the EU feel like one huge interconnected story. Overall, I think this book improved on everything the last book tried to do, although I still think it falls a little short of the first book. Overall, I really did enjoy this trilogy. Although Deitz's writing style wasn't for me and the trilogy as a whole felt a bit disconnected at times, I really did enjoy reading about Morgan and Kyle Katarn, Jan Ors, Jarek and the Dark Jedi, and the Valley of the Jedi. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next review where I'll finally be starting A.C. Crispin's fan-favorite Han Solo trilogy with the first book, The Paradise Snare. See ya.